Welcome to the Top Secret Wedding Podcast. And today's top secret tip is to make sure that on your Google Business profile, you have accurate information. Make sure you update that regularly. Let's go. This is the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, where we share top secret tips to help you take your wedding game to the next level.
I'm Annika, and I'm a wedding coordinator, enthusiast, and venue manager for one of the best venues in Idaho.
I'm Chris, and I'm a DJ, master of ceremonies, and all-around lover of weddings.
We're on a mission to improve weddings and wedding professionals everywhere.
So today we're talking about Google Business Profile.
The Google Business Profile. So most people know it as Google My Business, right?
Right.
But it's Google Business Profile is the new thing that they've come up with. So, and I'm worried that my phone is going to be reacting this whole time because I keep saying Google. So Google Business Profile, the reason that they've changed the name is because it's just a little bit more accurate to the way that they're transitioning the tools that you're using to manage your business through Google. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But let's talk about what Google Business Profile is. I'm so used to saying Google My Business, but your Google Business Profile, when you are on the SERP, and the SERP is the search engine results page. Mm-hmm. So basically, anytime you type in something to Google and you get results, that's the SERP. And when you start looking at SEO, you're going to run across that term quite a bit. So on the SERP, you're going to, for the Google Business Profile, those are the things that come up with the maps, and it has like the names of the businesses. So that usually comes up first. And this should be your absolute first step in SEO. Mm-hmm. If you haven't done anything, even if you don't have a website, make sure that you have your Google Business Profile set up, because that's going to rank you higher than anything else will.
Totally.
And faster. Mm-hmm. So I have pretty good SEO, but almost always Wedding Wire or The Knot or one of those is above my personal or our business webpage, which is really frustrating. But my Google Business Profile is above that in the Google Business Profile results. So let's talk about how to set that up. Any questions so far? Good so far?
Yep, we're good so far.
So it's pretty easy process to get set up. You just Google Business Profile, and it should come up, and you have to sign in. Make sure when you sign in, this is something that you need to watch out for. Make sure when you sign in, you're signed in with the actual account that you want to manage with. Mm-hmm. So if you're managing for a business, make sure that you're not signed in under your personal Gmail account. Otherwise it's a hassle later. So make sure that you're signed in to Gmail or Google with the account that you actually want to use to manage that account. So you go on there, and if you already have a business set up, it'll bring you to a page where you can add a business. If you've never set up a business with that profile, it's going to first ask you for the name of the business. And depending on how old your business is, it may already be there.
Okay.
Because especially if it's a retail location or you're a photographer that has a studio, people may have visited it and they've already kind of put that information.
Kind of on the map.
Yep. So type in your business. If you're brand new, then it's probably not going to be there. So you just click add new business. But just take a quick peek through there and make sure that your business isn't already listed, or that there's not another business with that name. So once you put in the name, then it's going to ask you what type of service it is. So is it an online retailer where you're like selling like Etsy kind of stuff? Uh-huh. Are you a service related business? That's me. So a DJ, a photographer, or are you a retail space where you're selling goods? Do you know what you guys are listed as?
I know I always have a hard time figuring out which one to click. I think it's services, but...
Yeah, because it's right in between the services and the retail. It's not retail space, but it is
location. I think for Ice Palace, I think ours is like recreational facility or something.
Okay,
like that, you know?
So that's a different thing. Mm-hmm. That's your what what do we call it? It's it's your category.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're going to get to that because it's really
Okay.
important. So anyways, you put in the type of business that you are. And then the next thing it's going to ask you is your area.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you're putting in the area where you regularly do business. Now, eventually you can put in, like, if you're a photographer and you want to travel, you can put in all of United States. I suggest against doing that because then Google's just not going to list you at all. Because it's like, well, I'm not going to list you for every time somebody searches for photographer in the United
Right.
States. You're not that good.
Right.
So if you list it in a specific place, then it's going to be a lot easier to be listed up higher.
Okay.
So then you put in your phone number. You got to have a real phone number. And if you have a website, great, you can put that in. If you don't have a website, then you don't have to put that in yet, and you can build that later.
Is that phone number like the business phone or like your phone?
The business phone.
Okay.
Now, you can put in multiple numbers later, but definitely put in a number that you have access to.
Okay.
So if it's a number you don't have access to, I actually don't know if it needs to be a mobile number, but most people have mobile numbers as their phones anyways. So then it's going to ask you after that to put in your mailing address. And for some people, this is a scary thing, right? Because sometimes you don't want customers knowing where you are.
Yeah, of course.
So, but you got to put in your real address, because what Google's going to do with that information is they're going to mail you a postcard so that they can verify that you're a real person in a real place. And later you can say, I don't want customers to have access to my address.
Okay.
You can just give them access to, like, I'm in this city, but not your actual address. But to establish and verify your business on Google My Business or Google Business Profile, you need to have your real address in there. Now, you were mentioning something about... Yeah, tell me.
So I am trying to verify another business.
Okay.
It's a branch off from our current, but it's in a new location. And we are having the hardest time getting that postcard. So we're trying to get verified, but we've sent the postcard a ton and we cannot get it.
Yeah. And so I touched on this a little bit, but the postcard will have a code on it that you enter into Google to say, yeah, I'm actually here and I got the postcard. So if you're not getting the postcard, try it again. Sometimes Google they forget to send it. I don't know what happens. But another thing that in rare circumstances you can do is sometimes you can verify with a phone call or a video. And the video is going to show, you're going to take a video of, like, the front of the business, maybe take them some places where only employees would have access to. So that way they can verify that you are the owner of this business.
Makes sense.
So maybe reach out to Google, see if that's an option if you just can't get their postcard for some reason.
For sure. Yeah.
So then you're going to add the services. So this is partially what we were talking about before.
Gotcha. Okay.
What your services are. So, and this is probably the most important thing as far as ranking, when you're going to be ranked, how high you're going to be ranked in your city. And by the way, I'll mention this too. You are ranked differently locally. So if somebody is searching from Ohio and they're trying to find a venue in Rexburg, Idaho, it's going to show them a different type of search result than if they were locally in Rexburg and they were looking for something. So making sure that your services are correct is going to help weed out some of those things that are trying to, they're not actually in the area.
Gotcha. Okay.
So putting your services in there and making sure that they're accurate is the most important thing as far as ranking on Google My Business. And there are secondary things that you can rank as. So, like, you're a venue first, but maybe also list that you're a wedding planning service and you're also something else. But make sure that your big money maker is your primary service. So
love that.
Put in your hours. It's going to ask you if you want to accept messages. I would say you should accept messages. In practice, I would say 90% of the messages I get are spam.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. DJs are targeted for some reason.
Interesting.
I'm sure photographers are too, but
yeah.
So most of them are spam, and they're pretty easy to tell because the grammar's not quite correct. They have weird spacing, and their name is something like "My name is Jane Doe," that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah. Going back real quick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about putting in your hours. So what do you do if you're not like a business with hours?
So there's two camps that people fall into. Some people say, I want to be available to my customers all the time. So they just put 24 hours a day.
Okay.
I think I have mine set from like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
So I'm okay with customers reaching out to me anytime. So you can just put whatever you're comfortable with people contacting you.
Okay.
Now that's not to say that if you put 9 to 5 that somebody's not going to contact you outside of those hours, but if you're trying to kind of limit that, that's a good way to do it.
Okay. One thing to add with that.
Yeah.
I feel like for my venue, this has been a little different because I personally don't love putting hours on there because people then come to the physical address.
Gotcha.
So it's a venue, and a lot of times we're primarily closed to the public.
Yeah.
But if they go on Google Business Profile and they say, oh, hey, they're open, they're like, hey, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
And then there's someone staying there and it's like, oh, this is awkward. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer. I'm wondering if there's some way to say by appointment only.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would probably be the best way to do it. Message us to make an appointment.
For sure.
Yeah, but that would be weird for them to just show up.
Yeah. We've had it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like someone's hanging out and they're like,
oh,
let's check this out. And people are like, this what?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
It's going to ask you about to put in like a description of what you do. Try and use as much as you can. As much of that, I think it's like 700 words or characters or something like that. So that's just basically your about us. It's going to ask you for photos. Definitely put some good photos in here. And make sure that you're putting photos of, it depends on what kind of service you are, but you want to give the result of whatever you're doing,
Totally.
right? So, for example, if you're a DJ, right, having a picture of your cool DJ setup, that's great, but having a picture of you rocking the crowd is much better. So make sure that you're getting the correct photos in there.
Is it true that clients can go in and add photos to your profile?
They can, yeah. And I've had some people, I've had clients and photographers they leave a review and they leave some pictures, which is always really cool as long as they're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely they can do that, and you can encourage them to do that.
For sure.
So, and I've done that too. Like I'll leave reviews and I'll put photos and stuff like that. So it's good. And then it'll ask you if you want a voucher for advertising. I usually just skip that because you can always get that later. If you want that voucher, you can still get that later. But that's just a lot of, it's trying to set you up with advertising, and that's just too many decisions at that point.
For sure.
And then just once you're set up, just kind of go through and make sure that you're filling in any relevant information. Anything that you can attract your customers with is good, meaning any information that you have, it's customers want to know that. So now afterwards, once you've set this up and you're verified, you've gotten the postcard, you've put in the information, afterwards, then you want to make sure there's a few things you want to do. You want to make sure that you're going in regularly. I'd say with maybe every 6 months or so, go in and put in the accurate information. So if your hours have changed, if your service area has changed, if you've expanded, if you're now offering some additional services, make sure that you go in and put that in. One of the things that people often miss when they're trying to do SEO is they will try and game the system. They'll try and make it good for Google. And Google has gotten really good at recognizing when people are doing that. So the best thing that I can tell you to do is make sure that you are putting information in that's good for your users.
Okay.
If you're putting in good information for your users, then your users are going to have a good experience, and Google can tell when the users are having a good experience on the website or wherever. And they're going to send more traffic to you that rates you higher. So you want to update your categories, update your hours, update your services, all those things. And you can manage they're in a transition period right now. Right now, there's a whole kind of back end place that you can manage your business listing.
Okay.
But they will be changing that over to just managing on the SERP. So when you search for your own business, it's going to have all the information that you can change or update. On your phone, you can also manage that. So you can manage it on Google Maps, the app, or I think you can also manage it in the SERP when you search for your own business. So again, this is one of the easiest things that you can do to get listed and to get noticed on Google. This is way faster than building a website. It's easier. You should have a website too, but this is probably the first thing that you should do. And then get good reviews, which we talked about on another episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
One question for you. So I know once you have the Google business profile up and running, there's a little section on it about, I think it's called posts.
Yes.
What do you know about posts?
So that post is kind of like, I don't know that a lot of people use it.
Okay.
But it's basically a way to send a message to people searching for you. And I think there's a certain amount of time that those last. I don't think it's just like you put one post and it just lasts forever. So you'd have to do that regularly. So if you have maybe let's say you have like a sale going on, right? If you have a sale going on, then maybe you can post it there.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably social media is a better way to do that because it's more direct and you can update it faster and easier. But if you have somebody that's doing this full time, then yeah, go ahead and use that.
For sure.
But it probably won't change your ranking all that much.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess my one tip for posts, though, we do posts.
Yeah.
So, we usually just replicate one of our Instagram posts and we
that's
post
good.
on Google once or twice a week.
Wow.
Or sorry, once a week or every other week.
And what do you see from that?
Honestly, we've had a lot more traffic to our website. I feel like people are just drawn by pictures. So when they Google, LaBelle Lake or wedding venue, then they see a picture and then just on that quick snippet, there's pictures, the
They can
info,
click on it.
and then they see a post and it's like, we always try to do a post that has like a catch, like top 5 things, and then they click it and then it's just boosts our SEO and takes them to our website.
Does do you know if you're tracking that like on the back end to see if customers are coming in through that?
Kennedy probably is. I haven't looked at it.
So yeah, the cool thing about SEO is it's not just like you put a keyword on your website and automatically your SEO is better. Google is now measuring like how customers are coming to your website and how long they stay on your website. So if customers, if they're coming in through those posts and they're staying there and you're booking through that, then that is going to help your SEO and you're going to raise higher than that. So that's cool that's working for you. That's really cool. So maybe I'll have to try that. I like it.
Give it a whirl.
I will. All right. Well, that is Google Business Profile, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Top Secret Wedding Podcast.
Subscribe, rate, and review us, and we'll see you next time.